Welcome everyone to the second 10-minute Facebook live video where I'm going to talk to you about mortgages in New Zealand. So before I start, there were actually two things that happened in the mortgage market in the past week or so that I think is quite important, but I'll do a Facebook live video with you guys tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon sometime just to talk through that. It's actually quite exciting, one of them. The other one not so exciting, but there is potential to rectify what happens. So no, with that suspense all over, I would just like you to comment along the way. So as we go along, just make some comments, see what you, if you want some advice about mortgages, and I can talk you through that at the end of the Facebook Live video. So I often get asked by clients, do they need to, or can they build a house in New Zealand? Is it a good thing to do? And the answer is there's actually not a clear answer for that. It really depends on your knowledge of the building market, and also sometimes it's good to buy a property and then build on it, and then later on you can sell it for a small profit, especially if the market is rising. If the market is like it is now at the moment in Auckland, it's quite flat. It has been flat for the past 3 years, and also the province is holding up nicely. So it really depends. So if I was you, I'd just do your research on that. As a financial advisor, I've got a disclosure statement that I've got to read to you guys. So my disclosure statement is available on request and it's free of charge. So, so in terms of the different building options and how the bank would look at it, I will cover that off a little bit later. But what I would like to talk to you about now is just the questions, as I said, that I get from people that want to build in New Zealand. There's quite a few challenges when you get to a new country in terms of build, especially in New Zealand. There is regulations that you need to follow, which makes it really hard. Biggest problem actually in Auckland especially is to actually find a place to build on. And then if you do find a place, sometimes it's actually quite far out of the city, so you have to drive quite far to get to your job, for example. Second problem in Auckland is really just getting tradies, so if you want to build a house, there's not enough tradespeople in New Zealand to actually do that, and because of that, it becomes quite expensive. Third option is really just the cost. To give you an example, we got a quote. We wanted to build 2 extra rooms onto our home, and the cost for that was $200,000. So it doesn't come cheap. So last thing is really just if you want to take on a build in New Zealand, you've got to be experienced in that. If you're not a builder, if you've never built before, and if you're from South Africa, for example, and you've never built before, it becomes a real challenge, and it's hard. With all the regulations around health and safety, getting past the council to get approval, so it's not easy. So then what I want to discuss with you is just how the banks would look at what we call a new build. So there's 3 different options with the banks, and I'll go with the riskier one first and then work my way towards the ones that are not so risky. So the first option is called labor only, and how that works is literally obviously labor only. So what it means is that you are the project manager, so you need to identify a section, and then you're going to be the project manager to do the whole build. Obviously, that's the most riskier one, and what it is that you need to get consent from the council first. The council, that involves getting an architect, so there's a lot of cost involved before you even approach the bank to get an approval. So you take the risk that you spend a lot of money in terms of getting approvals from the council, and then what happens is that the bank will say, well, it doesn't really stack up, so you need to do your research on that one definitely. So what you need to do then is once you've got everything together, so you're responsible for buying all the materials once the loan has been approved. So all the materials, you need to get all the tradies together, and you're the project manager. So if you have never done anything like this before, I would not recommend that in New Zealand. I really think it's way too risky. How the bank will look at it, just for interest sake, is they would require at least a deposit of 20%, and that's just because of the risk involved in actually the project not completing, because of lack of experience maybe on your part. So process is you buy the section, the bank will use your full deposit for the section so that the risk is minimized, and then you start building, you get your tradies in, and then the building will hopefully be finished by in the correct sort of time frame. Other complication with the bank is that when you do work out the servicing, the bank will load another 10% onto it, in terms of the cost of the build, just to leave a little bit of a margin for error for them. The video just broke up there a little bit. So not my preferred choice, to be honest. I just think it's too risky if you've never done it before. And I would recommend, as I said, that you do a lot of homework before you go down that path. So that was labor only. So the next one is, it's called fixed price build, and it's literally what it says. A little bit simpler. What you would need to do is find the section that you want to build on. Get yourself a builder that's prepared to quote a fixed price. So obviously it's in the name. The fixed price means that, say they charge you $200,000 for the build, that's how much it's going to cost you to build it. So hopefully there's no overruns in that case. But in that case, you've got a really good contract in place. So again, what the bank will do, 10% deposit is required. You settle on the section. You use your full 10% deposit for the section. And then there will be progress payments as the builder completes it to certain levels. The builder will send you an invoice. You will go to the bank, and the bank will actually draw down on that invoice to you until completion of the property. So that's the second option covered. I am dealing with a client at the moment who's just going through his residency procedure. He should be have a resident visa in January next year, and we're waiting for that to happen. And he's already identified a section that he wants to build on. So that's really good. So that's a good option for people out there. Last option is where you only need a 5% deposit, which is from one of the banks. The other banks would require 10% deposit, and it's called Home and Land Package or Turnkey. And again, the name is in Turnkey. Turnkey means that you literally just the day that the property settles, you would arrive there and you would turn the key and you'd walk into your new home. So Turnkey is the developer would give you a sale and purchase agreement, and based on that, I can go to the bank and get an approval on a 5% deposit. The reason why the deposit is so small is because the risk to the bank is much less. It's obviously a developer. They know the developers quite well, and so because of that, they're prepared to take less risk on it. So, but again, you'll have to pay the full 5% deposit up front. In this case, there's not an extra build in it in terms of cost overruns, so they won't in the background load another 10% or so onto the loan, just to see if it's going to service and a bit of coverage for the bank. So there you have it, guys. I've covered off all three, and I'm trying to keep to the 10 minutes as I said. Any comments, just comment, and I will see if I can answer those questions for you. And please do look out for the video tomorrow, where I'm going to talk about the two major things that's happened in the mortgage market. It's quite, as I said, one is really exciting. The other one happened today. So that's a bit of a clue for you guys if you want to maybe read through the newspaper, go on your phone and perhaps go into NZ Herald. It's going to on mortgage repayments, but I'll talk about all that tomorrow. So thanks again for joining us, guys, and have a nice day. Thank you very much. Cheers, bye.